Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel and my build series of the 1/8 scale Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me, courtesy of my friends at Agora Models. So we're starting off with pack 11 today, and it's going to be a little different because I'm also going to show you what I did in the last episode, doing some detail work on the rockets and missiles in the rear of the car. Also, I'm going to be starting on my base and my display that I'm going to use for this kit once it's done. So I'm going to show a little bit of that and a little of the progress. It's kind of hard to show all the progress because it is pretty good size, but I'm going to try to show you what I can. And then obviously at the end of the next episode, which will be the wrap-up episode, episode 12, I will show you everything in its full glory. All right, so before we get started, real quick, if this is your first time tuning in, hey, welcome and thanks for stopping by. If you missed any of these episodes in the build series, there is a link down in the description to the playlist where you can go get caught up. And for all my current subscribers, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate all of you. All right, well, once again, if you want to get one of these for yourself, you can scan that QR code on the screen somewhere here. And otherwise, you can go down in the description below and click the link to Agora Models and check them out and order one for yourself. Be sure to check out their other collections of model kits, but the James Bond collection is super cool. All right, well, enough chit chat. It's time to get to the build. All right, for stage 84, we're going to be attaching the rudders. So we've got our rear bumper cover, and these little parts here, which are going to cover up the screws and the attachment points on the rudders. Okay, so we're going to start off, we're going to bring back our left rudder that we did in the previous stage. And we want to have our rear bumper this way. And this is just going to go on so that this hole here, we're going to put this post in it. So we just want to go on like this, like that, and then we'll hold that on the other side with a PSO5 screw. All right, just like that. And then we'll do the same for the other side. So we're going to take our rudder, go in like this, then hold it on with another PSO5 screw. Just like that. Okay, now we've got these two parts here, and they are labeled left and right. So we're going to start off with the left one. And these are just going to go right in this area right here. There's a couple holes. So we're going to put that down in there and just press it in place, just like that. And then we'll do the same on the other side. All right, and those just snap into place, just like that. And with that, that's all there is for this stage. We don't do anything with this yet, so that'll probably be in one of the next stages. Okay, for stage 85, we are going to be attaching the propeller guard, another iconic looking piece of this car. You know, whenever I see this, I don't even have to see the whole car. I know exactly what it is. So we're going to be setting this up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take, we've got 4 little motors and some connectors. So we are going to take the first motor, and they're all labeled number 12, so it doesn't matter which one. But we're basically going to take this and feed it down through the hole in this first one here. Just like so. It'll come out the other side, and then we're going to take our motor and we're just going to press it down all the way inside there, just like that. Then we're going to do the same exact thing with the other 3. Now, I will tell you, inside here, I don't know if you can see it, but if you can see, it's not just a straight round hole through there. It's kind of slotted. So you got to make sure this plug goes in the right way so it'll pass through it. Also, if you kind of curl these little tabs around so they're not so big, it makes it a little easier to feed this through here. There we go. And then just press it in, just like that. And then the last one, just like that. All right, moving on. We're going to take these 2 pigtail connectors here. And again, they're both labeled 12. But basically, we're going to attach these one on each side. So there'll be 2 on this one and 2 for this one. So let's go ahead and attach those. One there, one there, and then the last one. All right, just like that. Okay, next, we're going to bring our rear rudder assembly back over. And we're going to take this, and this is going to connect, it's going to snap over these 2 posts here. So you just want to bring it in like so. And then push it down just like that. And then we're going to hold this in place with a couple of PSO5 screws. Now, the screws that we're using to hold this in are actually up here, not these ones down here. So we'll get that one in there and get it started. And I'll go ahead and tighten that one up and then tighten this one up. Just like that. And then next we're going to take our bumper cover, and this is going to go this way, just right over here, like that. And then we'll hold that in with 3 of the PSO5 screws. I'll do the middle one first. Just get it started. All right, now we'll tighten these up. Okay, so that's what that's looking like. And with that, that is the end of stage 85. Okay, for stage 86, we're going to actually be putting the propellers on here and adding these covers here. They are marked. One is marked L for left, the other one R for right. Now, you may say, Dave, there's something missing. I don't see the propellers. Well, that's because the color on the propellers just really wasn't doing anything for me, the original color. So I went ahead and did my own thing again. I went and painted them. So I started off by simply cleaning the parts with alcohol to make sure there was no residue on them. I sprayed them in a white primer, so it would be a very light color when I put the top color on. And then after the primer had dried, I made sure it was really dry. And then I sprayed it with 3 or 4 coats of brass color, a brass paint. The paint I used was actually this old Model Masters paint that I had laying around, and I had one in brass, so I had to mix this up really well and thin it pretty good to give it a nice fine coat on it. And I think they turned out great, and they look much better. And here they are. And after I let the paint dry really well, I took a brown wash and just kind of darkened up the edges and this little connecting bolt, I guess you'd call that right there, just to give it a little depth, but I really like how these came out. All right, so let's set this stuff aside. We're going to start off with this right one. We're going to turn this over, and this right one is going to go right here and cover all this up. So it should just fit right in there like so, like that. And then we're going to hold that in with a PSO2 screw. We'll get that in there like so. All right, and we'll take our left one, do the same thing. All right, so just like that, those are covered up. Now we're going to take our first propeller and we're going to just put it over the shaft on the first motor here. Just push it on like that, and then we'll do the other 3. And the last one. All right, we have our props, and I really like how that color looks on those props. The color before was fine, but I just felt it looked a little too toy-like, and this really looks a lot more realistic. And with that, that is the end of stage 86. All right, moving on. Okay, for stage 87, we're going to be building the rear license plate. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this part and this sticker and put it on. Okay, so you want to make sure you have your license plate situated with these pins at the bottom. And your license plate is going to go on just like this. Otherwise, it's going to be upside down. So let's go ahead and peel this sticker off, get it started here. We'll get it going right here. All right, just like that. Next, we're going to take this piece here and we're going to situate it this way. And we're going to take one of these spring-loaded clasp things, and this is going to go so on this side you can see the spring in there, but we want to see the side where you can't see the spring, and that's going to go in right here on this side. Need something to push that with. All right, clips in just like that. Then we're going to take the other one, and same thing, it's going to go in on this side, like so. All right, just like that. Then we're going to turn this over so it's situated this way. And we're going to take our spray jets, and these are just going to go over these two posts and through those holes. So they'll come out the back like that. Then we've got a couple of springs. So we're going to take our springs. One goes over that one, and one goes over that one on this plate, not on the pipes that are sticking through, just on the back side. Okay, next we're going to take this piece here and this piece. And you want to make sure that these posts are up. And we're going to take this and make sure that that tab there is facing up. And we're going to put that right on top of those. And we're going to hold this in with a couple of PSO5 screws. Just get one started. We'll do the other one. Okay, now we'll tighten those up. All right, and that will make our jet tubes spring-loaded. Okay, next we're going to take this assembly and our license plate, and we're going to install it here. Now there's a pin here, hole here, and a pinhole over there. And you got your pins on here, so you want to start one of them in there. And then get this one in the other one. Just like that. And then we close it. It's closed. Then we open it. And it opens up. Just like that. Okay, for this next part, we brought our body back over. We're going to take this assembly and we're just going to slip it in right there. And then on the other side, we're going to attach it with some PSO5 screws. Okay, so to attach this, we're going to put a PS205 screw here and here. So we'll get this one started. And then this one. Just like that. Okay, next we're going to take these pipes, and these just get mounted. They just get pressed in this hole here, this hole, and this hole on those little tabs. All right, and those just fit in just like that. All right, now it's mounted in there, and we can open them up and close them. And with that, that is the end of stage 87. Okay, for stage 88, we're going to leave the body here because we're going to be fitting the right rear taillights. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take this right rear taillight housing, and we're just going to set it right in there like that. Next, we're going to take the reflector part of our taillight and our lens, and these just going to fit in these little holes here. And those just snap in just like that. Then we're going to take this and we're going to stick it right inside there. And then we're going to have to flip the car over so we can get to the other side. Okay, so next we're going to take this piece here, which has some surface mounted LEDs, and you want to have it this way around. And we're just going to put the LEDs in those holes like so. And then we're going to hold that in with a couple of PSO5 screws here and here. So let's hold that there. Get our screw started. Now you've got to kind of push on the lens on the other side so it's in there far enough to start that screw. We'll do our other side here. just like that. All right, and that's how it looks with that taillight assembled and in there. And with that, that's the end of stage 88. All right, for step 89, we're basically doing the same thing, except now we're doing the opposite taillight. So we'll take this, put it in there. We'll take this and our lens. We'll put those on here. Snap that in. And then this goes in here. And then we'll flip this over and attach it from the other side. Okay, next we're going to take our surface mounted LED part and just stick it right in there, just like that. And then we'll attach that with a couple of PSO5 screws. And then we'll have our two connecting wires just hanging out there. Okay, so with both taillights in now, that is the end of stage 89. Okay, for stage 90, there's only two parts. This is the left and right fuel tanks. However, this is actually a very big stage and an exciting one because we're actually going to be installing the cockpit and the chassis onto the main body of the car. So let's get right to that. Okay, so for the first part of this stage, in the instructions, they want you to pull your wires out. Initially, they had us route the wires out this way. And on this stage, we're going to pull the wires back out and route them through the front. Now, I already did that because I saw where this was going before. So I went ahead and did that. But there is this retaining clip that sits right down in here, and they want us to remove that. So if you've already done this, make sure you remove that retaining clip. Okay, for this next part, they want us to support the car upside down. That's like this, and that's what I've done. I would make sure you tape all your doors and hoods shut so they don't go flopping around on you. And then we're going to take our interior and we're going to put it in the car. So you just want to flip this over, and this should just set down like so. Now you want to make sure that your interior is sitting right on top of this post and the same one on the other side. Then you'll know it's in the way it's supposed to be. Okay, next we're going to put a couple of DSO2 screws in, one on each side, one here, and the same on the other side. And you're going into metal, so make sure you put a little oil on your screw. It'll just make it go in a little easier. All right, I've got that one started. I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll tighten them both up. Okay, just like that. Okay, next they want us to locate wire 2 and wire 4 and route them over to this side of the car. I'm going to use a little bit of tape to make sure those stay where I want them. Just like that. And then the rest of these wires all route to the opposite side. And you just want to make sure that none of them are covering up any of these metal posts where we're going to have screws going in. So let's get them behind that post down there. All right, just like that. Okay, next we're going to take our chassis, and our chassis is just going to fit in. Let's make sure our taillight wires are wrapped around so they don't get stuck under. Our chassis just fits in like so. Once again, make sure you're not pinching any wires. All right, just like that. And actually, I was wrong. We want our taillight wires to be inside of there because we're going to open the hatch to connect those. We don't want those coming out that side. So we'll put those back how they were. And we'll set this down again. Now, these posts these tabs right here are going to fit right down on these lower two white posts connected to the main body of the car. So let's get those down in there. Then we're going to use some DSO2 screws to attach those with. Okay, so the bottom of the chassis is in, and we've got these two front screws holding it down. Now, one thing I will say, I had a hard time getting this to line up, and it was because my cockpit was in the front, but it wasn't all the way down in the back. So when you're putting it in, make sure it goes all the way down in the back around the bulkhead and then down on the front. Once you get that in, the bottom chassis went in just fine. Okay, next we're going to use a couple of DSO2 screws, and those are going to go in here and here. Just get that one started. Just like that. Okay, next we're going to use a couple of PSO5 screws, and those are going to go here and here. Okay, just like that. Okay, next we're going to take our right fuel tank, and it's marked with an R, and these two tabs here are going to go on these two posts right here. Just like that, and we'll hold them in with a couple of PSO5 screws. Then we're going to do the same with our left side fuel tank. Same way, same screws. Just like that. Okay, next they want us to start connecting these wires. So we're going to match up the number 7 wire here with the number 7 wire here and connect those up. And the number 5 to the number 5 wire. Just like that. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So here is number 8 and number 8. And then number 9 and number 9. Wrong way around. Make sure those are nice and secure, just like that. All right, now we've turned the body around and we're going to start connecting the wires from the front here. So the first thing they want us to do is find wire 13. So we'll just connect these two up. And we'll just do that for the rest of the wires. All right, all of the wires are now connected. So yay, the interior cockpit is installed, the chassis installed, everything is tightened down. And wow, that is the end of stage 90. That was a big stage, but we got a lot done in that one. All right, let's move on. Okay, before I jump into stage 91, I'm going to alter the assembly process here. I'm actually going to jump forward to stage 100 from pack 12. And that is assembling the remote control. And my reasoning for this is really simple. I'm at the point now where I've got all the electronics in, I've got everything wired up, with the exception of the fans. But what I want to do is I want to put this together so I can actually test all of those connections and make sure all the lights and make sure everything works, because if I keep going and wait till the end to do this, it's going to be hard to get back in there and troubleshoot things. So I don't have a test board or anything, and I really don't have a really good, reliable way to test the individual circuits. So I'm just going to go ahead and assemble this now, and then I'll be able to test everything, and hopefully that goes well, and we'll move on with the normal assembly process. All right, so the first thing we need to do with this is we're going to take our the front of our remote, and we're going to take the buttons, and these just simply fit right in here. Turn it around. Those just go in just like that. So on the back, when you push it, it pushes down and it'll hit a contact point on the board. All right, next we're going to get our circuit board out here. All right, we're going to take our circuit board, and it looks like how is this going to go here? So we're going to plug this into here. Looks like it just goes this way. Yep, just like that. And then these are our actual buttons. So we need to move this around so that everything lines up. All right, so it goes in just like that, and then we can hit our buttons, and we are going to use some PSO2 screws to hold this together. So we're going to put one on the top, and we're going to put another one right here. All right. All right. And that sounds like they clickety-clack, so that's a good sign. Next, we're going to take our backing. How does this go? Okay, so these are some tabs up here. These need to go in first and then close down like that. And then we'll put another PSO2 screw right there to hold that in. All right, and then after I put the batteries in, the cover just snaps on like so, and it's good to go. All right, that's the end of that stage. Moving on. Okay, for stage 91, we're going to build this rear valance, or the rear clip. We're going to add these, and then we're also going to add the props to the back of this. So let's start off with these parts here. Are they labeled? Yes, this is left, and this one is right. Okay, so we're going to start off with our right insert here, and it's just going to sit on these two studs right here, or posts, like that. And we're going to hold this in with a DSO2 screw. Let's get this started. All right, so actually on this one, we're only using one screw to hold this in, but that's what it'll look like on the back. So let's take our other one and do the same thing. Those are in, looking just like that. Okay, next we're going to bring back over our propeller unit here, and there's some grooves in here. We're just going to kind of set these in here and fit this into both sides of that rear clip like so. So it's looking like that. And then we're going to take some PS25 screws to put this together. Now here we're going to be using that other hole of this insert that we put in previously on both sides. So let's start with this one. Just get that in there. Started. All right. And then we're going to put one here, one here. Flip this over, do this one. Okay. Just like that. Oh, that's looking so cool. Okay, next we're going to put this on. So you want to kind of put it in here and just hold it like that. And then we're going to put some screws in the top to hold that in. All right, now when you do this, you want to make sure you don't have any of the wires trapped. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to install 2 screws just to kind of hold this in. Then I'm going to flip it over and make sure all of my wires are clear and in the right place. Okay, so I flipped it over. I made sure all my wires are clear, and they are. So now I'm just going to put these last 2 screws in back here. And then we'll tighten everything up. All right, those are all nice and tight. Okay, now that is screwed together, we're going to turn it over and we're going to connect our number 12 plugs. These go to the props. So there's that one. And this one over here. All right. Then I'm just going to tuck these in under here so they're out of the way. Okay, next they want us to cut off these 4 little white caps, and they go where we put the screws in the back here. Now the instructions tell you don't do this until after, do it later after you've verified that your electronics all work. But since I have already verified happily that the electronics are working, I'm going to go ahead and put these in there. Okay, so these things are surprisingly tricky to get in there, but I'm going to show you a little tip. Put some this is just blue tack on the end of a toothpick and get it lined up in there. Then use another one to get it off the blue tack. And then take the blunt end. This is just a skewer that I use for painting parts. Take the blunt end, put it on there square, and then just push it down in there. And they'll go in just fine. Okay, and with that, that is the end of stage 91. So it's really looking cool right now. And like I said before, I'm just geeking out on this because this is just super cool. All right, moving on. Okay, for stage 92, we're going to be building the first of the hydroplane fins. This is for the right side. Now, these are just going to go in here like this, and they are keyed. There is a tab right here, and there's a notch in there. So you want to make sure you get these in the right way, like that, because they'll only move a little, they only move so much, and then they stop. So we're going to put that in there, and we're going to hold it in with a PS23 screw. So this just goes in here like so. Okay, just like that. Let's tighten that up a little more. Okay, just like that. Okay, and that completes stage 92, and that completes this pack for pack 11. So yeah, a really productive pack for sure. I mean, just look at it. It's really looking like the car now, and we don't put these on yet, but it's going to go there. Oh my goodness, it's looking so cool. All right, also, I did detail up my missiles for the back. I think they came out pretty good. I basically primed them. I cleaned them up with some alcohol, primed them in black primer. First, I taped off the original, those lines are the original color of the missiles. I just used some really small tape to tape those off. Primed it black, painted it in silver to give it that metallic look. And then I dipped the ends in just some red paint to give it a nice, even cone paint job on the end there. I think they came out really good, and they're going to look way better in there than the original, just that dark orange reddish color that they were. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put these in here right now because they're cool. All right. Well, that wraps up this episode and that pack. So I hope you're all enjoying this journey with me. I'm having a ball. And if you are, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button down below. It helps out the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. And again, if you want to get one of these for yourself, scan that QR code on the screen or check the links in the description below and go get yourself one, because this is a really cool kit. All right, friends. Well, until next episode, which will be the final episode. Also, I didn't get much done on the base. It's actually got some varnish on it. It's drying, so we'll get some more of that in the next episode. But yeah, we're moving right along. So until then, friends, everyone be safe out there and go build something.